North American League and look decently strong on, and they needed a victory on this map in order to qualify for the major, but this is also a strong map for BDS as well. So you've got a very fair playing field between these teams, and it'll be fascinating to see how it ends up working out. There's some expectation from the analysts that we would see some funky bans, and now I think we have to retire that phrase until we cast SSG at some point in the future.
Yeah, they'll be the next one. But what we see here early on is that Nomad ban, Thatcher ban. So this is very typical Consulate so far. Nomad is banned on Consulate very often because you need to go for those runouts off in order to make plays on Suicide Balcony, by Yellow Stairs, a lot of different places, right? Nomad being banned out will prevent that stoppage. So Jaeger, that's kind of interesting.
All right, that's a nice one.
Yeah, we get a little bit of variety here. I like a Jaeger ban. I mean, I
can vibe with it.
Yeah, he's still got a good gun. I mean, in the hands of these players, Valkyrie's pretty standard.
Yes.
So
Mira's available.
That's true.
Wamai is available. Malusi is available.
But Wamai is the only denial, and that means that places like Yellow Stairs are going to be very difficult to hold.
Yes. So expect to see a Wamai and or possibly a Rooney near 100% pick rate for this match because they need that denial, as has been discussed. And just as I say that, what ends up happening on your screen? But Aruni and Wamai locked in right away. The split bomb site of Archives and Tellers is where we will go to start things off. Defense, obviously, for the first 6 rounds will be Soniqs.
Ooh, okay, 6 picking off of the mute into the castle. So it's likely they don't want to broadcast their bomb site, and that's why they'll 6-pick the castle. Castle is most likely on 2 sites, top floor and archives. Those are your castle sites for this map.
Yep.
You can bring him anywhere, but those are where he's best. So starting off here on this different site, some teams don't actually like archives. And we've seen this go completely unplayed by certain squads.
Yep. No, I mean, the 4 bomb sites on this map, they're all perfectly viable.
Yes.
Some teams like the top floor of what a lot of teams refer to as CEO. That's the console office bomb site.
Yep.
Some enjoy going to lobby, garage, and then archives, tellers. There's an ebb and flow to consulate, and the map obviously got some small tinkering done a couple years back, adding this archives, tellers bomb site when there used to only be 3 on this map. And now tellers archives has been in the favor of a lot of teams, but you're absolutely correct. It is a stylistic choice for some teams.
Now it's a heavy setup here for the Soniqs on the top floor. Lots of investment into admin office. I like this. It's difficult to pull off, though. I will say a hard hold upstairs in admin is exceptionally hard. It looks like it's going to be a yellow pressure early on, though, for BDS. Starting with the downstairs clear. You can see how Shaiiko is following this drone in, and he'll get good information off that Lion EE1D, spraying on the mark, but no shots landed. They're going for direct archives.
They're just gunning for it. That's it. Renshiro gets leadoff kill. Supr answers back. But BDS have already stated their intentions, and they've shown their full hand, barging in as quickly as they could. That was only 30 seconds off the clock before that first fray happened. And Gryxr takes matters into his own hands. He swats away RaFaLe. Shaiko's next one up. A grenade goes down for some denial, and he is good enough for that shot. And this is a brawl that will just continue to go back and forth.
As the pause here starts to set in, we have to realize there's 2 minutes left. Soniqs, they've fully adjusted for the way that BDS are taking this. That drone gives good information, but Kanzen wins his heads-up gunfight. In a 2 versus 2 now, as Kanzen has been downed. Shaiiko still in that closet. He's got a lot of playmake potential, and Kanzen's back up. But the nade, it doesn't do any damage, surprisingly. Both of these BDS players on 1 shot's worth of HP. They have to land that headshot in order to win, except for against Kanzen. But luckily, they still have a lot of time. And look at this, BriD's gonna have the plant. There's no one to stop him. All of the Soniqs are downstairs. Supr fights his way out, though. In the post-plant, he's gonna be able to land the shot likely against BriD, but he's only gotta land 1 against most of these defenders. That's a beautiful shot on Supr. 1 more bullet, and there's the 2nd, not the 3rd. BriD shut down by Rexen, and he will get that first round with an easy disable as soon as he finds it.
Which he's on it now, by the way.
He got it.
He's got it. Excellently held together by Richie, and the Soniqs will take the very first round on what was shaping up to be BDS dominance at the start. Taking map control early on, pushing to the site, but rebuffed very well by Soniqs, especially through that mid-round, holding the back of the site, reading off of it correctly, and peeking when they knew they had the information to do so, prompting BDS to have to go upstairs.
I think that point you just made is crucial. Peeking when they knew they had the opportunity to do so. We saw Soniqs heavily rotate downstairs to try and stop the direct take from BDS.
Yeah.
Now, had they done that rotation and not gotten aggressive and taken the fights they knew they could, then what we would have seen is that rotation from BDS that we just saw, except for BDS now has more manpower. And that post plant goes very different in that scenario. So you're right, Parker. And that aggression from Soniqs paid out really well.
So the Soniqs, after doing that, like the bottom floor bomb site, so they will go back to a different bottom floor bomb site, but this one is garage, only narrowly linked together. We talked about denial, Jaeger being off of the board, but there is no ban right now for wall denial. Valkyrie is the other operator that's not available, so a Kaid, a Mute, a Bandit can all be used here. Though you don't see Bandit all that frequently, a Kaid will be brought out instead.
I love those passes because when somebody's throwing a drone through a window, they can't get the warning. Yeah. So it's like, if they decide to throw a drone, then yeah, yoink, exactly. And he's going to do the same thing on the CEO windows, and that's a 2-for-1 right there if you put him between. Oh, he's going for it, and he'll get some damage. But that's it. Gryxr gets away with his life. That's the most important thing.
If you're not hitting a headshot at that range, the damage drop-off on the Roni is quite substantial. So for Renshiro, you're very lucky that you hit your arm or your shoulder or wherever it was. Also, the camera player right now is on Shaiiko, and it is now gone. So we wanted to let you know that it was not the same person.
Yeah, Shaiiko isn't everybody.
Yes, they did not clone Shaiiko 10 times so that you could watch him and him alone.
Yeah,
now,
he's
uncomfortably close he is to his monitor.
Yeah, I don't know how he does that.
You got a couple players like that.
It works for him, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeti's going to take some damage, but he gets out of that alive as he goes downstairs. He was playing in the closet of CEO, and the fact that he's made it out with his life is important. Shaiiko has returned as the ever-present player. Kanzen goes down, and another for BDS as Super follows Kanzen to the grave.
But watch the mid-round here, because this was the same advantage that we saw come out from BDS. I think we might be a little bit farther forward than before, and this grenade will finish off Yeti. A slam dunk from Shaiiko as Rexen now in desperation gets followed up on, and a skeleton key from RaFaLe. Gryxr, who was the first one involved with any altercation, will now be the last one alive. He gives his position away, and he's very vulnerable with the nitro cell being tossed out. BriD cleans up, and BDS with a flawless round will equalize.
That's the second time we saw a player on Soniqs trying to throw a C4 getting shot in the process. Sometimes you just gotta take the fight. Hindsight's 20/20, of course, and well done to Team BDS. Losing that first round, not great, but they did go for a very dangerous play, and it just didn't pay out. This last round, not the case. BDS play pretty routine, and it works great. They clear out the roamers, they start focusing on the breach, they get the wall open, and at that point, Soniqs trying to re-initiate for those refrags, they're already losing so many bodies that it doesn't really matter what happens on site.
Well, the downstairs doesn't work out as well that second time. Nope. Different side of the downstairs bomb site.
Right.
Both of these rounds have been characterized by BDS wanting to set that fast tempo. And you know what might aid you in setting a fast tempo in your games? The Team BDS SMG11 skin.
Yeah, of course.
Both Soniqs and BDS have team skins.
They do, yes. And if you want to support them directly, you can get that skin directly in the in-game store. The esports tab, it's really convenient and easy to spot, and it does, again, support those teams. Now, going to this bottom floor, but heavily investing upstairs, as you can see from the Soniqs. Lots of reinforcements, rotations, Surya gates, a lot, mute jammers to slow down the drone. I like this. I like what we're seeing. I think it's lobby to try and hold here for the Soniqs. So they still haven't gone upstairs, which we do see that from a lot of teams, especially North American teams. I think that the top floor is often avoided.
Yeah, it seems to have fallen out of favor. A lot of teams have done that with the top floor bomb sites on a couple different maps. Consulate is not unique in that regard. Cafe is a big example of that. Up until recently, that cocktail bomb site on the top floor of Cafe was avoided like the plague. And we see the same thing now with console office up here. A lot of teams deciding that lobby is their go-to with the two bottom floor sites also being alongside.
Yeah, it's back and forth, right? You know, you get the I mean, lobby will fall out of favor at some point, and then it'll be back in favor. It's the same thing with every map. And we've seen that. We have seen that specifically with lobby for a long time. At first, lobby was hated, and then, oh, wow, this is amazing. And then, oh, I don't like it so much. And it's back to being a pretty viable bomb site. Anyway, focusing in on this round, BDS trying to clear the top floor. You need to do this so you can use that skeleton key and that sledgehammer to play vertically over this bomb site, also to prevent the defenders from denying your plant from above.
It's been a very slow round as we're over a minute in and nothing has really happened between the two teams. There's just been that exhaustive intel work. Some droning being done, but as I say that, Yeti sacrifices himself, hopefully for the greater good. As Rexen runs out, he catches two, beautifully played, and he tries to go back in, but the Claymore gets him at the last second.
I mean, he was in a rush. Okay, he was focused on other things.
He was.
Maybe he thought the impact would destroy the Claymore, right? I mean, it wouldn't because of the door frame, but I'm trying to argue, you know, he got 2 kills. We're equal man count. That's all that matters. No, but well played there to Rexen getting those 2 kills.
Of all the things you see, right? That's one of them, and you go, okay.
Nah.
So
I don't know. I'm trying to help him out.
I appreciate your ability to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's very kind of you. A grenade goes over towards Zed or Zulu, whichever you'd like to call it, and will now be droned out by BDS to know that nobody's playing in that particular area. The next step for BDS is likely to take the reinforced panel that leads into the bathroom. In order to do that, they'll have to shake off the mute jammers that will slow their advance. They realize that main lobby is, at the moment, completely clear. But Gryxr on the flank could throw a major wrench in their plans. As long as nobody is looking in that direction, BDS could be very susceptible to that. BriD drops, and there's the coverage that you need. Getting that diffuser down, at some point they're going to push on him. Nitro Cell tossed beautifully, and it'll stop it in its tracks. That was a blind spot. So now Shaiiko is on the ascent, trying to stop it as best as he can. Pick him up, but Elemzje is having some problems. There you go. 10 seconds. Supr is the one to be called into action. A 3v2. Supr looks the wrong way. Shaiiko wins that gun duel, and Kanzen will need to clutch out. He won't be able to do it, and BDS takes the lead.
Beautiful play there from Shaiiko, holding it down, the rock that his team needs in that situation. That 2-piece single-handedly wins the round. The early engagements went for BDS. That top floor clear, great. Good drone work, nice follow-up. But they didn't expect the run out from Rexen. That's what causes the problems. Now there's that C4 for the denial, and that does enter another question. Will BDS be able to hold it down, get that diffuser back up, and plant? The answer, yes. Well done again to BDS. Soniqs, it's a little bit tricky because they had the crossfire, Parker. They just couldn't win that engagement against Shaiiko, and to be fair, not many can.
No. Shaiiko, a monstrous round to close that one out on what was a sluggish entry from BDS in comparison to the 2 previous rounds. But I mean, if you're going to be taking lobby, there's a lot of work you need to do. Number one, you need to drone out the entirety of the bottom of the map, and then you also have to look up top and see who's playing where. In this case, Gryxr was the Phantom Illusion who rotated around and nobody seemed to know where he was, and could have been a significant difference maker, and it was his Nitro Cell, or rather the Nitro Cell from Kanzen, apologies, that almost saved the round, while Gryxr tried to get to the site and ultimately got caught out. Because again, BDS are investing so heavily in that flank watch role, which is a role that Shaiiko has becoming more accustomed with over the years. He's gone from that Hibana Ashe role to playing Nomad, playing Yana, he even played some Jackal way, way back. The addition of Elemzje onto this team, I think, really changed some things up for them and gave them some more freedom on attack. And obviously, this is going way back because Elemzje has been on this roster for so long now.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, it's been a lot of growth for BDS, and you know, once again, you know, they've had their stumbles, but I think this event has looked so good for them. And on the side of Soniqs, it's also similarly a story of growth. Yep. They've had a lot in recent time. I mean, coming off with that old United roster, going on to the Soniqs, and Supr staying on as that leadership role, they've had to find themselves over the last half year or so. And it's been a lot of progress for them. They've definitely gotten better, and I think this international competition performance that they're showing us is stronger than many would have expected coming out of NAL, because there are some weaknesses still for the Soniqs, most notably their attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, the biggest weakness for them is that one of their high-flying performers that you expect to do well is Yeti. He's at an 0-3. The frag potential for the Soniqs could be improved upon, but it's still early days. It's a Nitro cell that went out, by the way, and didn't net anything. That was Kanzen who'd thrown it.
Yeah, and they're still going to be looking for anything they can get. Shaiiko engages in Projector and wins it out against Yeti, who just tries to dodge. He can't win those gunfights right now.
Shaiiko getting that intel is so valuable for his team, and keeping control of Projector is crucial. That was where BriD had dropped from previously. Last round when he was able to get that diffuser down, they needed that Projector control. If BDS can assess whether the front lobby is clear or not, that'll be the next step towards being able to get this diffuser down. And Kanzen just narrowly, or Rexen rather, just narrowly missed out on an opportunity from above. So he'll retreat, trying to slow something over towards Yellow Stairs. But Shaiiko's on a warpath, and his 7th pick of this game comes on to Gryxr with a minute to go.
3 players up for the Soniqs, and there's the first gas canister detonated. He can use those gas canisters to delay for the majority of the remainder of this round. It's going to be difficult to time that and to keep your life while you're throwing those gas canisters. There's going to be another one for Shaiiko. That's his 3rd. Kanzen and Supr still up. The potential for an ace is there. Speaking of up, Kanzen is ascending the Yellow Stairs. He wants to re-engage, and it's going to punish him. Renshiro slapping him down. No ace for Shaiiko, and he's going to be happy with the round win, I'm sure. Supr trying to find a fight, and he will.
Gryxr and Kanzen are all very capable of putting the team on their back. Rexen in particular has been one of the highest rated players in the world for 2 years now. Gryxr was one of the highest rated players in the world and the highest rated player in the NA League last year, if you recall correctly, for a period of time. So this team knows how to frag well. They know how to play around that effectively. But right now, their coordination isn't particularly strong. They don't look like they're being able to bounce off of each other all that well, and it's hurting the team.
And, you know, to talk about the other aspect of this, too, is Shaiiko. I mean, this has been discussed. When Shaiiko is popping off, what can you really do? And that's exactly what's happening.
I mean, how many? No teams really have an answer for that, right?
Yeah, he's got 8 kills over 4 rounds. And obviously that's, 2 per round on average.
But
and
the rest of his team has kills too.
Yeah, and the rest of his team has kills as well. But what I'm saying is an activated Shaiiko is an absolutely terrifying thing.
Yep.
And clearly, Soniqs don't have the answer. And like you said, that's not exactly surprising. And what can you really do with your Soniqs? It's not something that we can give them the answer for. They're going to have to find it out in this match.
No, there are teams across the globe who have not been able to find an answer to the question, what do we do about Shaiiko? And there have been matches where Shaiiko can carry hard, but the rest of the team, if they don't show up, then BDS's chances can go down, because one man alone is not going to save your entire success or your entire round.
Not usually.
Not usually. But the difference is that BDS added Elemzje, they added BriD, and that the support network for BDS just continued to grow after these additions.
Yeah.
And it has made them such a formidable team, and that's why they've been one of the best teams in the world and the best team in Europe for so long.
Yeah, they are very versatile right now. A lot of roster depth, you could say. Nade's going in there towards the cafeteria. Nothing happening of it. No success. This hard hold in admin office is working great for the Soniqs so far in that they have not incurred any casualties.
And yes, sorry EUL fans, I know that Kix and I don't cast your region anymore, but over the last year I do think BDS has been the best team from that region.
Ooh, okay. Hot take. Well, let's see if the take can be hot for the Soniqs here, rather for BDS here. As,
Somebody's been playing aim lab.
Oh yeah, Rexen looking ready for the fight, but he'll back off once again. I'll talk about it later, but Soniqs are coming into contact here.
Yeah, and there goes a grenade, sails over the shoulder of Kanzen. It'll go off before the magnet can fully come into play and grab the grenade that had already been mid-tossed. This is only 90 seconds into the round. We still got a while to go, but BDS are trying to provoke a fight, looking for angles and looking for opportunities. It seems like Shaiiko is understanding Kanzen's position, and some of that coverage will go above him as he hits the deck.
I mean, clearly what you could see here from the Soniqs is that they're trying to play time as much as possible. We don't know if that's going to work for them yet. I don't think that that typically works against BDS, to be honest with you. But maybe it is the solution. But they are playing as passive as you can, that Soniqs are. And it's all about killing time.
BriD just walks into the main lobby on this Teller's Archives defense for the Soniqs down below. Lobby control, not as important as you'd think, but there is a hatch that you might want to take advantage of and take care of. Yeti, by the way, still looking for his very first pick, the only player in the lobby not lucky enough or fortunate enough to have one. And with the damage that's being done back and forth, he might need to wait a little while longer. It's Gryxr under siege above as Yeti now rotates, and the focus from Soniqs is split across these two floors. But the final 30 seconds signal what will eventually become the execute, and BDS seem to be relatively far from it. BriD instead will go downstairs, so they're taking the fight to the basement, and Supr will sound the alarm bells. He gets bodied as Elemzje walks into the site. A triumphant entry for BDS, as BriD will need to get that diffuser down. He attempts it. Yeti drops. Shaiiko down for the count. Yeti swatted away. Renshiro taken as Rexen, Kanzen, and Gryxr all get in on this, and the diffuser gets planted. So in the post plan, Elemzje and BriD will watch against the three young players for the Soniqs. Elemzje holding angle towards Closet. One of the hatches blow open, and Rexen doing this soft destruction. He sees one from above. Down goes Elemzje. He doesn't hear it. BriD will need to be the hero. He's so clutch. So clutch. We've seen him do this many times. Sitting over top of the diffuser that he himself carried into the site. He'll look for one. He gets the Wamai, plays off of Kanzen perfectly, turns around, doesn't engage. He'll have to deal with the bearing 9 through the bars, wasting time. 12 seconds. 7 seconds is the magic number. Gryxr going over there. He's almost out of time himself. He'll have to get on that diffuser. There you go. BriD will need to do it, and he's got it in his path. He can't stick it. There's nowhere near enough time, and it might be a Pyrrhic victory for the Soniqs, but the round goes in BDS's favor.
Well played there from BriD, and you said it yourself as it was happening, Parker. He is so clutch, and put that on full display in that 1 versus 3 post plant. Not a lot can do it quite like BriD.
There's nobody else I want in that situation, by the way.
Yeah, in that clutch situation, there's a short list maybe, but I mean, no one's gonna do it like him. Not like that.
Look at that. It's nasty.
He doesn't even need the last kill.
It's nasty.
It's almost more impressive that he didn't get the last kill because you know he's playing for the win.
Yeah.
So we're at a 4-1 right now, Parker. That round just now, oh my. So many adaptations from BDS. We're going for a top clear. They hit a hard wall from the Soniqs. And by the way, I was right. As you call this, you cannot play time against BDS. You just don't do that. And that round was a good example as to why. Team Soniqs think, okay, we can play time against BDS. We'll hold upstairs. They have to force into us. We'll use our advantage. BDS says, okay, they have an advantage. Let's go somewhere else. So they rotate down to tellers.
Yeah.
And they see Yeti, and they're like, you know what? We don't like this fight. They also have vertical on us. Let's go somewhere else. And so they go downstairs, and they find, frankly, the weakest link on the Soniqs, Supr, alone in archives. And even if he gets 1 kill there, I mean, that's a tricky fight for him. He's going to die. He'll be refragged. He doesn't get a single kill, but that forces the players upstairs to clear downstairs, and they do it. That's impressive for Soniqs. I really have to commend them for that. But it's not enough. And you get that post-plant situation. BriD is the one in it. I don't know. It's not likely to happen if you're Team Soniqs.
Yeah, obviously, BDS have tons of practice in the post plant, and the clutches that BriD are able to pull off are many highlights that you will see over in the EU League when you watch. Playing off of a sound cue from the hatch that gets dropped and opened up by the Aruni, as we talked about, and then going from there. But that was that round. This is this round. Round number 6, the very final stead for the Soniqs on defense. Consulate tends to fluctuate back and forth. Sometimes the attackers have an advantage, sometimes it's for the defense. In this instance, BDS have been the better team, regardless of where the tilt of the map goes. There's been some struggles for the Soniqs, and they will need to right the ship at some point. 2 minutes for them to close this gap. For BDS, they're only 3 rounds away from putting it away, and a victory here would mean the next round after is match point. That's the knife's edge for the Soniqs.
Oh, Kanzen, very difficult position to play. Really got to prioritize staying alive, and he just barely is. Yeti looking for a repel he cannot see. The push up here on Soda Machine from Elemzje is tenuous, but Shaiiko's in. It's a full repel.
Oh,
and oh no, the nade gets the player in cafeteria, and the second is felled by Renshiro. It's just Yeti and Supr now, and this looks all but certain as rounds go. But Yeti, important kill there on 2 Elemzje. Brings it a little bit closer. There's a lot of time for the attackers to work with, and they have the control that they want, and the man advantage. The only thing going for the defense is RaFaLe being on low HP.
So is Renshiro, though. Not quite low HP, but he's had some damage that's done to him. Down goes Super, Shaiiko a double. Yeti with only 1 kill to his name. He'd broken that streak earlier on. A nice flick playing off of it. But the defuse is going down right next to him. Does BriD know? He does. He's very aware of it. And like that, the first half goes in the books. 5-1 in favor of BDS.
I mean, that got a little bit scary for a second if you're a BDS fan, but at the same time, it was through and through a BDS round. They cleared out the top floor.
Through and through a BDS half.
Yeah, 5-1.
Yeah.
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 You could zoom out, you could zoom in. It was BDS. We'll go on to the second half now. And Soniqs now get to attack. They'll bring a 0. That's interesting.
So here is the tale of the tape, by the way, for anybody who's curious. Round number 1 was won by the Soniqs. They set an interesting tempo.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very early push from BDS that was very expertly rebuffed, I would say, by the Soniqs. After that, things didn't really quite go in their favor. The rotation that came in from the Soniqs, which went to every single bomb site except for that top floor that we had discussed, that CEO/console office,
which is like top floor,
which is where BDS goes right away. How poetic!
Yeah.
This was the one bomb site that wasn't played by the Soniqs. After that, BDS answers the first round with a round of their own, flawlessly done. Immediately follows it up with another victory and then a flawless after that. A timeout comes out from the Soniqs, and what does that change?
Nothing.
Very little, because the next 2 rounds after the timeout go in favor of BDS. A successful diffuser is planted, and every single round thus far, BDS has the opening duel going in their favor.
It's right around now, tactical timeout already used, that you start to question,
Attackers must locate.
What can we really do? What are our options here? Shaiiko has not slowed down through the entirety of the first half. 10 kills to round it out. If he's quiet on this second half, maybe you have a chance. But it's just doesn't seem likely to me. Consulate is a map that is typically very balanced as maps go, usually staying around 50% win rate for the defenders, depending on the region that you're looking at. And given that, a 5-1 half is quite damning.
Yeah.
Now, early on, it looks like it's going to be an admin office take. I say this because they are droning out below admin office, so they don't have to deal with C4s from below. They also have a player by balcony. And it's going to be visa control, balcony control. There's the admin control. They'll use this to create a platform to attack the A bomb site known as Projector, where you see Elemzje sitting.
Yep. And Yeti will go on 0. This is the first time we're seeing this operator today. Old Sam Fisher making his debut in the SamCam, or the Argus launcher, as it's referred to as.
SamCam's cooler.
SamCam is really well
We're
solved.
saying SamCam.
I think SamCam is pretty all right. And they'll keep that as flank watch. This is something that, with the Nomad being banned out by the Soniqs, you know that they're going to play around that ban. And of course, 0 works in a pinch. Obviously a very different style, and you have to man the camera itself, but still gives you some ideas as to where you might get pushed from.
Yeah, sometimes if you do have a dead player, and that player's manning the cams, it can actually be better because you get a kill off of it. Nades going in there to Projector. Elemzje is very pushed up.
Do they know his position? Has he been droned out?
I don't know.
I think he has now.
He's going to contest, but
where does he go?
Oh, no!
No!
Elemzje wins that against Gryxr, a fight he really shouldn't have gotten. Luckily, Rexen is able to down him inside of Projector. It's unlikely that Elemzje will be retrieved, but he could drop through the hatch if they don't secure the kill. And maybe then he will be saved. But there are some attackers down here. Yeti could potentially punish this and maybe get a double kill off of it. He's got a peek right now, and there it is! One, but not the second. Still an impactful kill.
And Renshiro's able to get away for that one as it's the final 45 seconds here of round 7. Michael, BDS looking for the knockout blow against the Soniqs. And a victory on their very first defense would spell trouble for the North American squad as BDS would move to match point. So the focus, get into the site, get that diffuser down. It's in the very capable hands of Super, but he's not necessarily as close as he wants to be. Tons of gunfire going out as BDS holds back. Shaiiko will be the playmaker watching from connector. Yeti dropped from Renshiro, who's still on the spiral staircase, and he'll need to ascend. A long range, but he can easily see into the thermite of Super and to Rexen out on the balcony. Shaiiko punishing, firing away through the smoke. Rexen goes down. Super on a tiny bit of HP, but through the smoke, he gets punished for it, and Kanzen will need to play hero. No time for him to get that diffuser. He's in the midst of the smoke, and he's finished off by an evil eye of all things. A tase to the heart, and it might as well be a dagger because it's match point for BDS.
And it's certainly seeming like it's a easy breezy game for BDS so far. What we saw out of that last round was a very basic attack from the Sonics. They were given the ground that they needed, an admin office, cafeteria, they got their platform. But the balcony presence was lackluster, to say the least. The downstairs presence didn't net as much of a result as Sonics would have hoped. Yeah, Yeti secured that first kill, but he did end up dying to the other roamer downstairs, which then went on to assist the rest of the hold upstairs, preventing that long desk push from the attack. So now you are fully bottlenecked onto a single door at the top of Visa stairs.
Yep.
And that's what happens when you use a basic attack against BDS. We're talking about levels here. You can't be doing those kinds of things against BDS. You need to have some kind of curveball. You need an X factor, a difference maker, whatever you want to call it. You need some extra edge, or BDS will take you on those basic strategy takes. They're not going to let you walk that walk.
Sonics presently averaging 2 kills a round.
Oh boy.
14 kills spread out across the team through the 7 rounds of action that we've seen so far for the Sonics. Obviously, BDS in the driver's seat.
I mean, Shaiiko was earlier averaging 2 kills per round. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's 3 kills off of RaFaLe and Shaiiko combined.
Yeah.
Which is a misleading statistic, because RaFaLe only has 3.
You get the point.
You get the point.
The kills are very askew, and the 6-1 scoreline is accurately represented right now.
This does bode well for Team 1, though, because Team 1 comes into this matchup trailing the Sonics by 1 point.
True.
Team 1 with 1 point, Sonics with 2, CAG with 6, BDS with 6. It looks like another 3 will be added to BDS's column, pushing them up to 9, which all but guarantees that they will emerge from the groups.
Yep.
The likelihood of them falling to 3rd place at that point is virtually 0.
Very slim.
But Team 1 needs to ensure that they don't let the Sonics get too far ahead of them. Their sights will be on Cyclops to see how CAG does for the remainder of groups today and tomorrow. But that's just mathematics that we can talk about later on, and I know the desk will be fixated on it. For us, though, there's 2 minutes remaining to see if the French team will send the North American squad home from this map. And a good drone from Yeti will spot the Aruni down below, or the Malusi, rather, down below. I keep getting the silhouettes of Aruni and Malusi confused.
I mean, the more operators we get, the more you're going to get that confused.
It's the hairstyle for me. It's like the hairstyle, like the texture rated on this screen often gets, they look very similar in like their flow.
I mean, I've made much more confusing mistakes. I confused Alibi for Rook once, or maybe it was vice versa, but I could mix them up. Yeah. And I was like, oh my. Because they look nothing alike.
Yeah. Well, confusion aside, this is going to be a lobby defense for BDS. BDS might only have 2 opportunities to defend here, by the way.
I mean, any round they take at this point is going to be, I mean, that's it. So they won't really need too many opportunities, I would imagine. We'll see, of course. Technically, they have endless opportunities on any site right now, because they go until they win. Kanzen gets firm control of top spiral, and he's going to open up above that banana doorway. That cuts off rotation, and they're going to see some hard destruction somewhere. There it is. Looks like it was on the drop and admin.
Yeah, it was. BriD down below with a nitro cell. He's going to wait for a call out as to where Yeti is. There it goes. Will it work? Pull.
Do it. Do it. Do it. He didn't do it. He has it in his pocket. He's holding it right now.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Still there. Go for it. There you go. There you go. There you go. He gets it. BDS 2 big kills to start things off. They are perfect so far through these 8 rounds on opening duels. Their numbers advantage presently stands at 2. Right now, the Sonics in danger of falling behind the clock with only 20 seconds left. Kanzen, a nice pick, though, but he's got to do some more, and he'll confront Shaiiko. Shaiiko just doesn't lose, though, as he pivots. Can't do much onto Supr. The spray transfer does not work out. Gryxr down below, but he doesn't have access to that diffuser, so they just need to play time. Where is Supr going to drop? He tries to, but it's cleaned up. A disappointing performance for the North American squad. BDS look as frightening as ever as they win the matchup 7-1.
Well, Parker, it looks like we have some very fast matches this morning.
Don't we ever?
Yeah.
In stark contrast to our matches yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we're making up for it. Well done to BDS.